Hello everyone and welcome to the detailed deep learning program. Today we will cover topics like what is optimizer, why we need optimizer, and how to update weights, and then what is learning rate and how to choose a right value for learning rate. So these are the topics which we are going to cover in today's class. So guys, in my last class we have I have explained you this example, right? So what was this example? So this is a code for perceptron for single neuron, and I have explained to you in my last class like how perceptron work, how to write a code for perceptron. So just let me brief you once again that concept, because in a today's class we will be working on this code only. So let's just go through it once. So what we have done in your yesterday's class, we took three variables, right? W, B, W is a weight, B is a bias, and X is a placeholder. X is an input, right? And we are not providing input right now. We will be providing input at the time of execution, right? So these are the initial weight values and the bias value. You can write anything over here. After that, this line is a code for perceptron. This is the line which will train your perceptron. W into X means weights into input. We multiply weights with inputs and then we add bias in it, right? And after that, over here we are running that model. So for running that model, linear model is a variable where we have written the code for perceptron, and these are the X values. Why we are providing X values over here? Because we have used a placeholder above, so that simply means that we are going to provide these values at the time of execution, and now over here we are executing the code, so that's why I'm providing the values of X over here, and this is the output we get. Now what this output is, so we have four values in X, so we are getting four values as output, one output value for one input value. All right, so these are the four predicted Y values which are predicted by our perceptron, right? Now the thing is, the main question over here is how to check your model accuracy, means whether your model is getting trained properly or not, how much good, or your model is performing good or poor, right? We need to check that thing. So for that, what we do, we calculate loss function. Loss function means error, right? So we need to calculate the error. So how we calculate error? We compare the actual Y value with the predicted Y value. So these four values are the predicted Y values, right? So now we need actual four Y values, and with those four Y values we'll compare these predicted values. Alright, so for that what we did was, so I took another variable with the name of Y, and I have make it a placeholder. That simply means I will provide the values of Y at the time of execution, and these two lines are responsible for calculating loss, right? We are calculating RMSE over here. So we are doing, in first line we are squaring the difference. Linear model is the predicted Y value and this Y is the actual Y value. We are getting the difference of them and then we are squaring it, and in next line we are calculating the reduced sum. Okay, so this is how we calculate error. In next line over here you can see we want to calculate the loss for what X values are this and the actual Y values are this, right? And how much loss we are getting? 20.16 means our actual Y value and the predicted Y value, those values are different, right? And the error is 20.16. Now our goal is to reduce this error. See, if you'll reduce the error, then only you can improve the accuracy of your model, right? So our goal here is to reduce the error, and for that I have told you in my last class also how we can reduce the error. See, just see this picture. These are the inputs and these are the weights. X1 into W1 plus X1 into W2 plus X1 into W3. this is what summation does. And after that we have activation function. You can choose any of the activation function which I have already taught you. But don't worry guys, in our next examples we will implement all those activation functions in practically, right? But right now we are understanding some other concept, so I'm not emphasizing on this right now. So over here we are calculating the loss. So this is the formula. I have taught you this formula in my last class. D is the actual output, desired output, and Y is the predicted output. X is the input and N is the learning rate. And guys, today I'll tell you what is this learning rate and why I'm using it. In my last class I told you like I'll teach you in the next class. So today I'll teach you what is this, right? N is a learning rate, and this I have told you. Over here we have calculated a loss, and our loss over here is 20.16, right? Now our task is to reduce that error. So for that, how we can reduce the error? By updating the weight. Which weight? These weight values. We will change these weight values and will perform the whole operation again, means change the weight values and then again do x1 into w1 plus x2 into w2 new w2 x3 into new w3. Then over here we'll add up all those things and then we again apply activation function on it, and this time you'll get different error. Obviously you'll get a different value because these values are changed this time. Now we have to see, after changing these weight value, whether your error is increasing or decreasing. If your error is decreasing, that means these weights values, the new weight values are working over here, right? And okay, got my point. So now the thing which I'm telling you over here is we are updating a weight and then we are giving the new weights and then we again following the process, and we do this process, we keep on updating the weights, right, for several epochs. So guys, if you are not familiar about epochs, that again I'll tell you in my today's class what is epoch. Epoch simply means iterations. Okay, in more detail I'll tell you in few minutes. So this is how we work, right? So our today's task is how we can reduce this error. And for reducing the error, we need to update the weights. Now just think, initially I have told you just assign any value to w1 or any random value to w2 and any random value to w3. But after the first epoch, after the first iteration, when you calculated the loss, then the question here is what should be the next weight value? How would we know like which value will work for us? Which new weight value should we use in order to improve the results, right? So the question here is what should be the next weight value? So over here, when we are thinking like which should be the next weight value, over here comes the role of optimizer, right? So I've told you like we will be starting optimizer today, and why I have explained you all these things which I've just for our previous class. I've explained you all the things which I've already discussed in the previous class, so that I can take you to the next step of it. So the next step is how to choose a new weight value. So for that we are using a optimizer, right? So over here, updating the weight, over here we are using the task of optimizer is getting used over here. Now let's discuss in more detail about it. See, okay, so as I've told you, see guys, let's get back to this code only, right? So the error we are getting over here is 20.16, and you want to update the weight and you want to improve the results. But now again one more question over here is how many times you want to update the weights, right? You need to tell your algorithm, then only it will work for those many iterations, right? So over here, one thing is what should be the next weight value. The other thing is how many times we want to update the weights. That again we have to mention in a code, okay? That thing is called epoch. Epoch simply means epoch simply means a full training cycle of your data set. full training cycle of your data set. That means again, like if you're training your network will, let's talk about this example over here. So x1, x2, x3 are the input columns, y is the output column, and we have four different inputs. Okay, so one epoch simply means when your algorithm will get trained on, when your algorithm seen all these four data points which is present in your data set and give us some output. So that is one epoch. One epoch simply means when your algorithm will see all the data points of your data set. Okay. Now what is the need of epoch? Let's take example of human beings only. How we people learn. See, when we want to learn any new concept, what we does is we try to understand that concept which we want to learn, and let's suppose after reading it one time, we didn't get a proper idea like what that concept is exactly, then we study that topic again, right? And this time let's suppose we got understanding 70%. Okay, this concept is about this thing, but then again let's suppose if you have few doubts in your mind, we study that topic again and again. We train ourselves on that topic again and again until we get a proper idea about it. So this is what epoch means here. In artificial intelligence, epoch simply means we are training our algorithm on same dataset again and again until it understands it properly. Okay, so it again depends upon us how many times you want to train your data on, how many times you want to train your algorithm on same data set. So you can write, see, you can write 100 epochs. 100 epochs simply means you want to train your algorithm on same data set 100 times, and after every epoch we are changing the weight value, right? Okay, let's go back here only. Let's suppose over here epoch is, let's write I want to have epoch equals to 10. That means I want to update this weight 10 times. Alright, so these are the initial W1, W2, W3 values. These values are getting multiplied with their inputs, and we are passing that data to a summation unit of your perceptron. After that we have activation function, and then we are calculating a loss, right? One epoch is completed now. Now we have calculated the loss. On the basis of that loss, we have updated updated the weight. We have changed the values of weights. Which weights? These three weights. Okay, this time the values of these three weights are different. Again, x1 into new w1, x2 into new w2, x3 into new w3, and we'll add all these things over here, and then again follow the same process. This time we'll get different loss error, right? Why? Because the values over here are different. So this is the second epoch. Now second epoch is completed. Again we are updating the weights. Now this time is again new weight we have. So we'll fill those three new weights over here, and we'll calculate we'll follow the same process again. So 10 epochs means we are training our algorithm again and again on same data, and we are tuning our model parameters. What model parameters we have over here? Weights and biases. So I hadn't used bias yet, so we are only talking about weights. Bias I'll tell you in detail later in my next classes. Okay, so we are tuning our model parameters. Model and algorithm are same thing. So we are tuning our parameters, we are tuning our weights, we are changing the weights, and then we are calculating the loss function, and we are retraining our algorithm. What will happen if you retrain again and again? You will get more idea about the things. That means accuracy will improve. So this is what epoch does. This is the task of epoch. Okay. So guys, now we are clear about epoch. All right. Now the next thing is, now over here I'm saying I want to train my algorithm 10 times, right? But what should be the speed of that training? This is again important thing. I want to train 10 times, but what should be the what should be the speed of that training process? Over here, learning rate comes in the picture. So guys, remember this formula W1. What this formula is about? This formula is used when you want to update the weight. This equation is used in perceptron when you want to update the weight. And what is that equation? Old weight. Suppose you want to get the new weight value for W1. So old weight value of W1 plus n is a learning rate, which I've just told you, at what speed you want to train your algorithm, at what speed you want to change the values of weight, sorry. Okay, so n is a learning rate. That simply means at what speed you want to change the values of weights. D is the actual y value, y is a predicted y value, x is the input. All right, so let me tell you in more detailed way, like what I mean to say, like at what speed we want to change the weight values, right? Let's discuss this in more detail now. So consider this image. This is x-axis and this is y-axis. Okay, so in x-axis over here we have weight values, and in y-axis E means error. Means what we are showing is what error values are associated with which weight value. So this first line, this orange one, when the weight is W1, at that time error is this. We have the highest error. Okay, and then we changed the weight value. This time the weight value is W2. When the weight value is W2, our error got reduced to this point. Previously error was higher, but this time error decreased when the weight value is W2. And then W1 means at initial step. Okay, W2 simply means the new weight value of W1. W3 means again the new weight value of W1. Okay, so when we have again changed the weight value of W1, this time the weight value becomes W3. This time error again reduced to here. So you can see over here, every time when we are increasing the weight value, let's suppose over here the weight value is 1, here the weight value is 2, here the weight value is 3, we are increasing the weight values. Every time when we are increasing the weight values, our error is decreasing, right? Initially error was there. When we change the weight value, error decreased to this value, and then again error decreased to this value when we change the weight value again. Now fourth time when we change the weight value, this our error is somewhere over here. This is the minimum error. And guys, this curve is called global minima curve. Global minima, this point is a global minima point. Global minima simply means this is the minimum error you cannot reduce. Error, this is the minimum error you cannot, your result will, you will not get a lesser value than this. This is the least number which you will get as an error in this. Okay, so this is the global minima curve. So in this picture we can see, like, this is the minimum point. The thing which I'm so this is how weight and error is related. When we increase the weights, then error got decreased. But guys, now remember, over here the weight value is 1, then again I increase the weight value to 2, error got decreased. And then I have again changed the weight value to 3, error got decreased. And then I have again changed the weight value to 4, error got decreased. Right? I'm increasing the weights and error is decreasing. But after certain point, that certain point is this. After certain point, if you will increase the weight value, right? So let's suppose over here I have again changed the weight value. This time I have put the weight value is 5. Now what will happen? When weight is 5, error will start increasing, right? And then again, if I change the weight value to 6, again error is increasing. Why error is increasing? Because we have crossed the global minima point. So see, that you have to keep in your mind, how much you always have to take care that you have to take care that this global minima should not get skipped, right? So how we can solve, how we get to know like where will be getting the global minimum point? Now again, this is the question that again I'll teach you in next few more slides. But guys, are you clear about the concept? Like on x-axis I have weight and on y-axis we have errors. On the basis of weights, by changing the weight value, errors are getting affected, loss function is getting affected. Okay, so we have to increase the weight up to certain point, okay, till we reach the global minima. After that, if you increase the weight value again, then you will cross this global minima and your error will start increasing. Error will start, you will get a higher error then again. Okay, so now how to choose a learning rate value? Okay, so I'm discussing two concepts over here. First is never choose high learning rate. Why not to choose high learning rate? See, high learning, when I'm saying learning rate, the learning rate is a numeric value only. Okay, so what I'm trying to say over here is never choose a high learning rate. Why not to choose a high learning rate? Consider this example for that. So if you'll see, this is the weight and this is the error. So when the weight is W1, that means this is the initial weight value. At that time, our error is this. But after that, if you'll see, this is a huge jump. This is a huge jump, right? I have skipped so many values. Let's suppose initially the weight value of W1 is 1. Okay. After that, I have changed the weight value of W1 to 5. Means I've skipped 2, 3, 4, or say the new weight value of W1 I have chosen is 10. Initial weight value is 1, and after that I directly jumped to the weight value of 10. I have skipped so many numbers in between. So this is a high jump. So what will happen? Over here we took a jump of 10, right? We have changed the value from 1 to 10, new weight value, right? So we are somewhere over here, error reduced, and we got this value. Again, I have updated the weight in next epoch, and this time also I took a long jump. This time, let's suppose my second weight value is 10, and I have updated that weight value to 20. This time also I've skipped the 10 values. So our error is somewhere over here now this time. Okay. Now, in third epoch, I have updated the weight again and I took a long jump again. Let's suppose this time I changed the weight value to 30. So what happened is, see, we are missing this global minima. We are missing this global minima. Why? Because we took a long jump. We skipped 9 values in between, and from 20 we shifted to 30 directly, and we missed the point where we can get the minimum error, right? So this is the reason we should not choose higher learning rate, because by choosing a higher learning rate, sometime it is possible that we will not hit this minimal point, the point where error would be the minimum, right? So over here we are not hitting the point, right? So we skipped that particular weight where we can get the minimum error. So this is the disadvantage of choosing high learning rate. Now, next thing is never choose very small value of learning rate. Now, what will happen if you choose small value of learning rate? See, consider this picture. See, over here, we are taking very small step. Very small step. Then what will happen with this? When you choose small learning rate, at that time, your algorithm will take so long to get trained, because we are choosing very small steps. Okay, and even we are making very tiny changes in our weight values. Let's suppose the initial weight value is 1, and the next learning rate is, let's suppose the initial learning rate is something like 1, and next learning rate is 1.1, and after that next learning rate is 1.2. So we are choosing very small values, and we are taking very tiny steps, right? So what will happen with that? Your training will progress very slowly. Your algorithm will get training very slowly. So this is the problem if you choose a small value of learning rate. So it is recommended. See, now the question over here is, then how do we know to choose, which value, and which value is minimal, and which value is the maximum value for learning rate, and which is the best value, right? The question over here is, I have told you in all these examples that choose a learning rate, because learning rate is important. Learning rate simply means we are telling, like how much we want to change the value of weight. In simple word, this is what learning rate is: how much we change in weights in order to reduce the error. This is what we want, right? So what we are saying, how much we are talking about, how much over here, how much learning rate, how much change in value we need to reduce the error. This is what we want. So that question, and I have told you, never choose a high value, because that way you'll skip the minimal point. And never choose a small value, very small value, because that way what will happen, training progress will very slowly, because we are taking very tiny steps. So how to choose the so how to choose a right value of learning rate? See, guys, for that, always start with a very small value, okay, like 0.01 or 0.001. So start with the very small value and observe your training progress, how your model progresses, what, just observe the training process, like how much time it is taking and what is the error you are getting, right? So let's suppose if the uh, training progresses very slowly, okay, so if the training process is very slow, and also track the error also, on the basis of these things, change your learning rate little bit, right? If training is slow, just increase the learning rate little bit, and then again see, again observe the training process, and again observe the error, and on the basis of those things, keep on tuning your learning rate for some time, and then you will get one learning rate which is good for your data set. So this is how you can choose learning rate. And guys, now I'll show you a practical example, right? So as in the very beginning, see, I have shown you, like in our yesterday's class, we have studied this, we got this RMSE. So now our task is to reduce this error. So I'll show you a practical example in which we will be using an optimizer. We will use learning rate, and we'll update the weights, and we'll try to reduce this error. So I'll show you all this functionality in my next class. So thank you.